And here we are. Good evening. I'm David from PhotoPixel, and I usually work on video games on my stream, but today I am working on a card game, which I was working on last stream as well. This time I've actually solved the issue I was having. So let me just get that fired up here. Alright, so the game is called Unstables. It's a game about a bunch of clumsy people who are trying to build as many stables as they can to rescue some horses. And the number of horses that you rescue together is your victory points. Has a limited number of rounds. And players basically, when they're getting things done at first, actually. So I've got 2 sheets of cards, and I did 8 copies of each and cut those out. They have 8 cards per sheet. And that worked reasonably well, except for one thing, which is that the number of materials and actions, they need, I think, for a relatively balanced game, as far as it like not being super difficult or super easy, they should be about they should be balanced against the what do you call it, emotional what are they, like positive emotion cards, essentially, at about a 3-to-1 ratio. Whoa, that's generating a lot of light. I'm usually not working on something that is has a white background. So let me show you that over here. So here's one of the card sheets. So we've got some materials and the actions that go with those materials. So essentially, someone needs to play some wood onto, say, the first stable, and then after that's played, someone can play sawing, and then that does what's needed with that. There are 5. The other one looks like I tried to open them too quickly in succession, and it hasn't opened. So here we go. There we go. So there's also the door, which you screw on. And I need to review these card names, but it was quite a quickly thrown together prototype. But that's essentially what the prototype was, 8 of each of these. And the problem was there were only 8 of these and 8 of these, and 10 of all of these, 5 actions, 5 materials, 10 total. And they really do need to be a lot more balanced, because if you're playing a 4-player game, then 3/4 of the times that you play actions or materials, you're going to get a pair of these cards on the player who played them and on somebody else. And then you need to play these. So basically, there are 40 total of action and material cards. And so I'm updating it to have 30 each of sorry and forgive cards for the next prototype. But that was quickly thrown together, and I got a bit got into a bit of yak shaving, let's say. And for those who don't know that expression, basically I went off on a wild goose chase to some extent. When I went to update this, I was just going to I need to pull out these 2 cards and make a sheet of each, or a sheet that has 4 of each of those, and just print 4 of those. And even though they're quite simple, I did want to, like, the program in me didn't want to just be sort of copy pasting things between different files and end up with potentially different versions of the same card that it could kind of become a big mess. So what I figured out, or what I was trying to do last stream, was figure out how to link from an SVG file, which is what Inkscape makes. That's vector graphics. Link from one SVG file to another, so that way I could have, like, for example, a single card for sorry, a single SVG file that just has the sorry card on it, and then have that pulled into a sheet of cards. And then if I wanted to have like this sheet of cards that has sorry and other cards in it, I could, and I could make another sheet of cards that pulls in that exact same sorry card, and uses it 8 times on that sheet. And then if I update the original sorry card, the others would automatically get the updates. So that's kind of a big win for just having a single copy of each card, sort of the master copy, and everything else just automatically updating. I love that kind of thing because then it's less busy work needing to go in and update it. Even though sometimes I might spend more time figuring out how to make it automatic than I would spend keeping it up to date. But I couldn't help but keep chipping away at it, and I figured it out. So the issue I was having last time was, yes, I could link something, but the size was wrong. And I could have just worked around that by resizing it, but it was really weird. A really weird issue. So let me just open... I'll leave those open there for the moment. I'll minimize them. I think they maximize or reopen anyway. So, okay, so here's my... I've just got a folder over here that's got those things in them. So that's the single sorry card that's opening now. So there you go, just a single sorry card on a document. The guides are in some weird places because of how things are positioned, but that's basically just related to the document properties. This is all stuff you can go in and edit in the SVG file as text as well. But essentially, we've got like a width and height in units. I'm using millimeters. And there's a scale. And there's also this view box that you define. I know this is on quite a small scale here, so it's hard to see on the stream. I'll probably try to get that fixed soon. Yeah, that'll fix it for the moment. Well enough, I think. Yeah, so the view box, so you've got, this is basically, you can see the corners of the card are a bit rounded. But then, just move that down a bit there. So then you can see these sharp corners. So this white background behind the card is this view box. And so that view box is like in the native SVG units. And then the size here in some kind of real world units like millimeters, that kind of determines what size that view box represents. And that sort of goes into this scale here to some extent. So that scale kind of combined with these other elements lead to what the like pixels per inch or similar is. So excuse me. So now I'll open the card sheet with the sorry cards. And so last stream you might have seen me working on, just close that document properties now. Might have seen me working on this, and I had a single card imported, but it was basically either when you select it, the view box would be this size, but the card would be bigger, or if I shrunk the card down to be the right size, the view box would be like smaller, like there. And I figured out it was 75% of the size. And it turned out the cause of that was actually because despite the fact that in this document and in the SVG file, it is saying what size that should be and the scale, that seems to be completely ignored. And it basically will treat the imported this one is called use external. It'll treat this thing that's brought in as though it is 96 DPI, regardless of what DPI you actually have. And so basically I had this card in 72 DPI and I had this in 72 DPI, and that was the default that I got when I created something. Or maybe it was the setting from the template that I used. Anyway, somehow I ended up with that. But then it was basically bringing it in as though it was 96 DPI, but then it was showing the selection area as though it was 72 DPI, but what it was actually rendering, it was rendering as though it was 96 DPI. No, the other way around. It was rendering it as though it was 72 DPI, but then the selection box was the size for 96 DPI. So it was really weird, and I figured out that the solution to it is just make sure that both of the files are set to I don't know what I changed that needs saving there. But yeah, make sure they're both set to basically a 96 DPI size. Anyway, since figuring that out and working on that, I basically have decided that I probably want to, rather than have a bunch of separate files, I need to go into each file and edit, like instead of each card in its own file. And then potentially if I've got card borders and things, then I need to bring them in from other files. Instead, I'll probably do more like what I've done in this sheet here, where this one here, which I make that a bit smaller. Do I have a area there that's sort of? It's not quite there, but there we go. And I will get into getting the cards themselves built soon, but I've just got to set some stuff up. So yeah, basically this thing is linking to the other file. All of these, so all the other cards, they're just linking directly to this one. So if I were to update this in some way, they would all follow without it even necessarily being in a different file. But yeah, I think what I'll actually do instead is, and I have to just see if I can do this, do a little experiment to see if it works. Basically have one master sheet that has all the cards, all the elements in there, and then I can just locally within that sort of reuse parts, like reuse borders for the same types of cards, reuse the basic layout and wording on a single card if I've got different images for the same card and that kind of thing. And then if I want to make a printable sheet of cards, then I can make that as a separate file and just import the appropriate IDs from there. So I will try and get that set up now. So basically, I'll make myself a new document. Apparently that uses the default template that's creating over here on this other monitor. And I'll just do a little quick experiment in here. The viewbox doesn't really matter. I think, or does it matter? Well, I'll find out. So let's just do one of these. All right, cool. Looks like that is a black rectangle. It's a pretty ugly looking thing. Maybe I can fill it with something a bit nicer, like gray. All right, let's do that. Um, oh, that's the width. Can do 1 millimeter. Okay, cool. So now I've got something there. I will look at the document properties here, because I do need to make sure that that's got the right scale. It doesn't need to be A4 necessarily. It's got 1.0 millimeters per unit, and that is not right. Need to have that be the equivalent here. I think it reuses the document properties window between different windows, which just kind of feels kind of weird. Not saving that yet. Oh. Hold on, if I select that, so give me the document properties for that. Okay, I've changed the scale. So that scale should match. And I've got this guy here. Let's grab a circle. And or ellipse. Let's see, down control. I think that'll give me a circle. Nice. And I'll make this a different color. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so now I've got two things. I've got one layer, and it's got this path one, which is an ellipse, and this rect one here. And is that the actual ID? Let me look at the object properties here. ID, rect one. So let's call this test thing one. Oh, hey. Oh, I haven't got my chat thing going. Cool. Fly me to the moon 420. Glad to hear you're enjoying it. Excuse me, I really should get in the habit of muting when I'm coughing. I've had some kind of cough for the longest time. Seems to be clearing up though, which is nice. As long as I can get some sleep. All right, so I got my test thing one. I'm going to copy that name, and that way I can just jump in here. Favorite pie? Ooh, what a question. It's like apple is a good staple, but then if you can kind of add some berries and stuff, that's even better. Top 3 favorite pies. Wow. I mean, I think broadly speaking, I went for dessert pies before I even remembered that that other types of pies, savory pies, are a thing. So now pumpkin pie is tricky because as someone who lives a long way from the US, I've only tried like a few pumpkin pies, and so not a lot of opportunity to have a really good one necessarily. I don't know if the pumpkin pie I've had is like great pumpkin pie or mediocre pumpkin pie, just because I don't have a lot of basis for comparison. But there we go. Pecan pie. Pecan pie is pretty good. I haven't had it for a long time, so hard to rate it compared to others. But it also kind of depends. Like, do I have a bunch of cream to put on there, or that kind of thing? Just trying to think about savory pies as well. It's like, it kind of depends what mood I'm in. It varies a lot. All right, let's call this Unstables Cards Master. So that could be the master sheet. And I've got two things on one layer here, and this one is not has not got its name here. I think I need to press set on there. There we go. So now I've got test thing 1, test thing 2. I've also got this thing called layer 1. If I look on this sorry card that I imported, I got some texts and a rectangle, but it was actually the ID on the document itself that's relevant. Oh, cool. Thanks for the follow. I should move this. Oh no, I like having my dev interrupted. It's very lonely to just sit here and develop with no interruptions. Yeah, especially, definitely pecan pie way too rich without cream. But then who would even get pie if they didn't have cream? Unless it was a meat pie, of course. Oh, apple and rhubarb is really good as well. I think I like the pies that are just like a whole bunch of fruit, a whole bunch of cooked fruit of some kind, put into pastry. So basically just a Danish scaled up to pie size. Apple turnovers, they're good too. Just, it's like if you got tired when you just made the top circle of pastry for the pie, so you just slap some stuff in there and fold it over and go, that'll do. Something like that, or you got the pie base ready and then knocked it on the floor and went, that was all the pastry I had, and I don't have time to go to the shops. I'm guessing that's how a lot of these things get invented. Right, so I was looking here. So basically the ID that I'm using to import, to bring this in is actually not kind of shown there. And that's where if I just grab the actual text file for this. Where are we? That's the card sheet. Here's the single card. And so at the top level SVG, which is not what we're seeing over here, we're just seeing the shapes. And those are actually, if I collapse some stuff that's not relevant here. And some other stuff here. We've got some shapes here. This one's ID should match. So we got rect2 there, should see rect3 and text 225. So this metadata is not part of that here. So this ID text 225. There we go. So that's basically what we've got showing here, but it's actually this ID for the SVG itself that I'm bringing in. And that's referred to in the other file with, where are we? Yeah, this one. So we've got an xlink href. Could probably make that bigger. There. We've got xlink href pointing to that single card with hash sorry card. So that's matching the ID just there at the top of the SVG. So that's bringing in the whole SVG. But what happens if I've made my my master sheet? This is the one I was just working on, the one with, just get that sorry card minimized. So this one here with these shapes. There we are. Oh, I just saved that, so I better make sure I reload this document. So this is what I get This is like what's backing. Oh, those shapes scrolled in the wrong place. So yeah, I've got that rectangle, which is named test thing 1 because I just named it that, and the circle called test thing 2. And here's a G. That's layer 1. That's a group called layer 1. So I've got a layer, which apparently is there. So I could make more layers. Can I hide that layer? Set the opacity on that layer. I can, make it hidden. So on. So that's called layer 1. Wonder if I also update its properties and give an ID of, what have I called the others? Test thing 1. I'll call that test layer 1. So I'll set that. And then can I make a new layer? I haven't used Inkscape for a long time. So I'll just add a layer here. And let's call this test layer 2. Yep, do it above the current. Guess. Okay, so now I've got that selected. Let's make a different shape. What have we got here? Stars? Why not? Can I just set this up to fill with like yellowy color? And then make that like that. I'll just move that a little. Okay, so this is on a separate layer. And I'm going to call it test thing 3. And set that. And also just, because I got test layer 2. Test thing 3 is on that. Test thing 1 and 2 are on layer 1. Which, here, let's go rename layer. Oh, I thought I had it called test layer 1, but maybe I just updated the ID, not the label. Or maybe I just forgot to press something. Anyway, okay, so now I've got some things and some layers, and let me play around with trying to import them into something else. I'll just save this and make myself a new file. Okay, new is, of course, it wants to expand all of my collapsed windows. Not the finest experience there, Inkscape, but it's open source, so if I don't like it, I can fix it myself. As long as I've got unlimited funds to fund myself to spend all the time fixing it myself. Okay, so I'll just make sure that one's got the correct scale. There we go. Brain just switched off for a second there. And yeah, having all these other windows open when I just wanted to collapse them. Oh, that one in particular, apparently. Seems like the sorry card for some reason is very heavily linked to that document properties dialog or something like that. Weird. Anyway, I was just going to go to this one and go to my document properties. I can probably make a template once I get one card sheet defined that's already got the scale correct. And okay, so now I've got that copied from there. So now if I click on this new one here, that's got that scale. Let's just update that. I'm going to hit enter to try to lock that in some way. And I'll just open that dialog again to make sure that it worked. Yeah, it seems to have the right thing. Although it hasn't got landscape. That's what I want that one to be. Okay, so I'm going to save this one. This one will be unstables cards. I'll call that test sheet.svg. So the other thing that I definitely very much want to do is get this into version control. Because these are just backed by text files, it means that I can get them in Git super easily. And then if I mess them up, I can just revert. So that'll be the other thing I do after this little experiment. I'll get it in Git, and then I'll start actually building my MasterCard sheet with reused templates for different card types, and then different individual cards, and then I do have different artwork, multiple different pieces of artwork to go on each card. Need ways to refer to the different. So there are card categories, and then there are what do we got? I got a layer here. Yeah, there are categories of cards, and then there are like individual cards. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle here and save this. And that is basically just so that I have something to work with. But actually, I think I'll also, so you can duplicate an object. So you can sort of duplicate, which will make a copy, and that's a sort of a separate copy, or you can clone. And cloning, instead of making a copy, makes a clone. And then if you update the original, such as slightly tweaking the color, they both change. So that's linked, but it's linked within the same document, not across files. So that's my next thing here is I'll just grab my test sheet here. There, so that's the one that I just updated here. And I'm sure I can find that rectangle and the use that is linking to rectangle 1 by ID, which is the ID just there. So you can't see that. It's not in the zoomed part of the screen. So here we go. There's the rectangle that I drew. There's the linked one. But I want this to be different. I want this to be referring not to just rectangle 1, but actually to unstables. What's going on with this? It's got something different about it. So I'll save that. Yeah, so we want unstables. Cards master.svg, and not rect1. We actually want, let's do test thing 1, since that's one of the things that I brought in. And this thing's ID is use1, so let's just make that like links test thing 1, or something like that. And while I'm at it, I'll just create a few more of these. I'm going to do 5. So I'm going to have test thing 2 and test thing 3. So that should be each of the test things brought in. And then I want the layers. See if I can import a layer. Make sure they've each got distinct IDs. And they're all in the same position right now, which is okay. I can fix that somewhere else. Okay, so there's the master sheet. And here is this one, but I need to basically reload this. So if I revert, that should, does that reload from disk or something else? Oh, where'd it go? There's my test sheet. I'm just going to close it and reopen it. This is just a test to see what will happen. And so part of it is just seeing, do I really need to be as stringent as someone might have said to get something imported. So those seem to maybe be not showing up. Actually, here's where I'll be able to tell for sure. There's my rectangle. Here's linked testing 1. But where is that? Can't see it here at all. So that tells me that maybe linking to a single ID might not be sufficient. But let me take a look at where I have linked something before. So it's the sorry card sheet. And this is the one, for some reason, I don't know why they end up kind of in reverse of the order. That makes sense. Oh, never mind, that's not actually that one. Let's put that back how it was. Maybe that wasn't like that. It was like that. Okay. So we've got xlink href. The full file name in the same directory, including the extension, and hash, and then an ID. And we've got an XY and a transform. So that's what I'm seeing on the card sheet that has things linked. These notes, by the way, it's like lots of stuff I wrote while I was figuring out how to make it work. And that's just, there's a lot to keep track of what I've tried or not, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, so card sheet looks like that. And then my test sheet, I got an X and a Y, and xlink href with oh, look at this, it says .svt. That's not .svg. Where is the key shortcut to select the next thing? I'm sure that Sublime Text, one of the major features of it was the ability to like select another thing. Oh, probably doesn't matter too much. I'll just use find and replace instead. Let's just find replace. Yeah, so I'm going to replace .svt with .svg. Must not have been looking. good there. Okay, so now that I've done that, let me try revert this. Well, look at that. We've got some things imported now. So we're on our layer 1, and we've got that rect that we defined. Now, test thing 1, we've got just here. And I've managed to grab linked test layer 1. Let's try and grab linked test layer 2. Maybe it's the next thing. No, there's linked test thing 1. What do we got here? We got thing 2, thing 3. Linked test layer 2. I'm not seeing anything selected there, but it should be in the same position. There should be a thing with a star on it. Not seeing it there. So that's interesting. Maybe there's something to do with that. Let's have a look. Test layer 2. Link to test layer 2. All right, that looks fine. Let's look at this thing here. So we've got this group called test layer 1 and this group called test layer 2 with ID layer 1. So that'll do it. Its ID is not test layer 2. That's just the Inkscape label for it. So there we go. Change that to be called test layer 2. So now if I, I'll just save that, and then I think if I save and then revert, it'll like reload, and there we go. We've got that layer in. So you'll probably notice this layer 1 here. It just appears as a combination of these things. And we can't edit them individually because they're just linked to somewhere. So if we want to edit them, we've got to go to the other file and edit them there, which I should be able to do. Maybe I'll just saturate all these colors a lot so that the difference is obvious. And then I'll save. And then I'll grab this one. I'll save that, but can I just like refresh? It's possible to refresh things. I'm going to press F5 and see what happens. It appears to have selected some kind of ellipsis tool. So that was not what I wanted. I'm just going to do revert on it, because I think if you save and then revert, it basically means reload from disk, right? So yeah, those have all changed color. Oh, okay, yeah. So test layer 2 problem was here. On master, if I just reload that from disk, that fix that I did on test layer 2 got unfixed. So there we go. Just fix that again. And it's master. Yeah, master's just there. I need to close that or like revert it so that it picks up that change. Anyway, it seems to be working. Should we open master actually? So this should be the right scale as well. So that means basically if I were to make this be size of that page, where we're at 297 millimeters wide and 210 millimeters high, because that is the size of an A4 sheet of paper. If I just make that be that size and save it, then if I revert this, and I don't see myself using revert too much, because I'll essentially be probably making the master sheet, building printable card sheets that are sort of, the set of them makes up the entire game. Just print X of these and Y of those and so on. There we go. That looks like it lines up. It's using the same scaling, so that's good. That's basically all I need. So I think that bit is complete. I'm going to see what tea I've got left here. No snacks this time, unfortunately. I haven't been to the shop for a while. So I haven't had a chance to pick up anything. All I've got is some powder that makes milk flavorful. It's made by a company that I'd rather not encourage. It's bad enough that I gave them my money. I don't know how bad they are these days, but most big companies that are still around. Well, I don't know if I can say what I was about to say, with all honesty. Many big companies that are still around have sordid pasts that are not very not very pleasant. They leave much to be desired. Yeah. So that basically worked. So how do I want to proceed from here? I think I'll grab my MasterCard sheet and start laying it out. Yes, that is master. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these things because I don't want them. Now I don't need guides. I want guides. So that's like these. On here, I've got these guides that are just 10 millimeters from the edge. That just that seems to work for my printer at home to not try and print anything off in the wrong place. Yeah, I think I'm going to grab this sorry card. I've got the card outline. I've got that sort of content guide to show where the content should be and some text. So I'm just going to grab all of those things, copy them, and see if I can paste them in here. Hello, Mrs. Spamuella. Well, that's quite an interesting name. Where would that surname be from? Evertwerwen. And to answer the question, how's it going? I know that often it's rhetorical and just meant to be a greeting, but I can't help but just answer it. Which is sometimes difficult because I don't answer things dishonestly unless I'm playing a game. I didn't think it would be your actual surname. Funny to think about, though. Yeah, it was an okay day, and then something happened that kind of spoiled it. But I kind of just tried to power through and not let it not let it affect me, and especially not let it make me take it out on other people. So, yeah, pretty good now though. I think it's a bit therapeutic getting some cards put together. Right, so this is like the sorry card, which is like the one I was playing with. I actually have a scanner just somewhere behind me there that I'm going to plug in at some point and scan some cards because I have some fantastic little stylized artwork that I don't know if it's like a final because it's not sort of drawn on clean sheets, but it's really got some character, so I like it a lot. How am I going to arrange this? I've got in my mind, I've got basically I'm going to make this bigger. First of all, I'm going to give it a massive view box because I think that will sort of make it zoom to that. Millimeters, centimeters. Where's the meters? Okay. Yeah, let's make it a meter square. Seems good. Cool. All right, so now we've got our massive document. And I might even end up making that bigger. Yeah, like it was really just one thing. So everything else was all right. This is for a physical card game. I actually have the physical cards somewhere. I had them here. The card game does live in I don't even know what this is. Thai green curry, gluten and dairy free. I don't know. I don't buy these things because anything that stuff is taken out of, it tends to not be as good as things that still have the stuff in there. Anyway, those aren't as good. Those cards, I need the ones in the bottom here that they've got art on them. That one doesn't. Oh, they got a bit mixed up together. I'll just grab a few of the more expressive ones. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Got some of the horses. They've all got names and stuff. Wait, I need to press this button over here somewhere. Just move my button. Oh, nobody has. I just put something on top of it. There we go. We got. This is like too exposed, but yeah, we've got horses and more horses, of course. The artist is interested in horses, so also target audience for the game. So, but some of the people, it's just like the expressions are fantastic. I'm trying to find them. Where have they all gone? Maybe I got all the best ones and put them there. We go. We got a grudge here. A few others. Shame. I need to kind of set up a camera that points down on the desk here to work on things. Oh, there's a sorry. Forgive. And so on. Yeah. That's real. Some of them really just like the expressiveness of the people is fantastic. So more in progress because I keep being petitioned to give more of the blank cards to decorate, and I got a lot of blanks. Like they've just got a heading on them. So Unstables is a game about a bunch of clumsy people trying to build stables for horses. So it's a cooperative game. You play a certain number of rounds and see how many stables you can build. Every time you build a stable, you get a horse, and whoever finished it gets to choose. And so that's the basic sort of surface level of it. Is you just trying to cooperatively get as many stables built as you can. On this master sheet, I'll actually put the instructions and other things like that. So that's kind of the broad goal. But then every time you do anything, and the things that you do towards the stables are getting materials and doing actions with those materials that progress the stables. You're always going to, well, not always. Most of the time, you're going to hurt someone because everyone's clumsy, and so it's basically at this point it's just been like a random roll for who it applies to, and if it's yourself, it doesn't count. But if you hurt someone, then you get shame for hurting them, and they get a grudge for being hurt. And then you can use a sorry action if you have a sorry card, and that will clear their grudge and your shame. Or they can use a forgive action, which will clear their grudge and your shame. And there are a few other cards related to that, which I haven't got in the first prototype, and I'm not sure if I'll have those. And so basically you get 5 actions where you take 5 cards at the start of your turn and play all of them that you can. But if you're holding on to any of the negative emotions, shame or grudges, then they all reduce the amount of cards that you can take. So if you have 2 grudges and a shame, you can only take 2 cards and play 2 cards. So it starts to really restrict what you can get done. And because there are a limited number of rounds, it reduces your overall ability to get things done if you don't deal with the emotions. But in the first prototype, it was really unbalanced, and there were just not enough of those cards to be able to clear the emotions. And so we still managed to get 3 stables built, and that was in 8 rounds in a 4-player game. So, yeah, but very frustrating because you sort of have all of these things that you're just not drawing the card to be able to do things. So, yeah, so that's sort of the prototype 2. The main difference is going to be just more of those cards. Oh, thank you. Yeah, someone sent me a message just saying they should look for games that were sort of themed around dealing with those type of emotions for kids, and yeah, sending me a message along those lines is basically the same thing as saying invent a game that is like this, because that's just kind of how my brain operates. So yeah, I never used to be clumsy, but sometimes I don't get enough sleep, and makes it a lot easier to Oops, I don't want to move that away from that. In fact, I think I want to grab this. I'll grab all of these things and just group them so I don't accidentally put them away from each other. But there we go. But clumsy or not, physically, it's kind of just representative of the fact that when you're living with other humans, sooner or later, something's going to happen. Someone's going to be hurt, whether it's physically, emotionally, or some other way, if there's some other way. That's just a reality we can't get away from. And that was where I was starting from when inventing the game. So I wasn't starting from stables. That was kind of, I thought, well, what's something that it could be themed around? But one of the premises was, well, you need to get something done, and you can't avoid hurting people, because that's not what the game's about. It's not about avoiding the hurt in the first place. It's about what you do when you have when the hurt has happened. Oh, and there is one more card that was in the prototype, which is the love card. And that's I'm not sure about everything's subject to change, of course, but that might end up being called a support card or something, but maybe not. But essentially, it sets up a support for somebody, and that essentially, and it's permanent for the whole game. So if you play a love card, you sort of target someone with it, and it gives them a permanent extra ability to hold on to one of those emotions without it reducing their hand size. And then if you get, if that's reciprocated, so both targeting each other, then that gives you an extra bonus as well, which I'm pretty, well, at the moment, I think that will be being able to share your positive emotion cards, like sorry and forgive cards, as a reaction when it's not your turn. So you sort of save them if you don't need them, and then you'll be able to use them at that point. But that didn't really work out, being able to test that in the initial prototype, because there just weren't enough of those cards. And so whenever someone drew one, they really needed it for themselves. Or, just there wasn't any reason to not immediately play it. All right, so what I want to do here is put a few headings to sort of lay out where this goes. So I think I'll have like the probably basic card template, and just make this text like bigger. 30. This is just spacing. There's no just like plus button. I want this to kind of be visible if you look at the whole sheet. So let's get a size that makes sense. For that, let's do 40. 40 seems adequate. What are these handles on this text? Something text anchor? Handle to text anchor. This one's not telling me what it is. Anyway, that's all I need. I've got a basic card template here. And that's basically just, I think, this, really. I can't align that with the. I can snap it onto the edge of it, but I can't do like aligning the center. One day I won't have a cough anymore. One day. Ungroup. Okay, so I just want to take this sorry and just make it be generic whatever text. Still kind of, yeah, getting the hang of a lot of Inkscape things. Text and font. Okay, we got like the text itself. Here we go. This is just like heading. That'll be the card heading. And that should be centered on the card, which means I'm just going to select that and that, and then I can align that horizontal center based on first selected. Right. Yeah. I don't know if you can do like position. Oh no, that's the wrong kind of position. See, what I'd like to do with some text is have the text box be as wide as something could fit, and then have the text be centered. But that does not seem like how the text works. Like, you kind of have to center each bit of text individually, and if you change it, you don't get to if you change the text, you can't have it automatically just be centered. But I don't know. It could be just that I don't know how to do that. Anyway, okay, so we've got a basic card template here. And I was going to set up some headings, and I got a bit caught up with what I was doing there. So let me just grab that heading here, duplicate it, and try to move the duplicate. And I want this to be like the card types. I'm going to call those card categories. Oh, maybe just like borders. Card categories. Yep. So now if I duplicate that and make some sub headings here, so I'll grab a font that is a different size than 48. Probably go down a rank of size. Something like that. Okay, so types of cards, we have materials. And actions. Something else. Let's call them positivity cards. So that's like sorry, forgive, and love. And the two others, if I end up making those, I forget what they're called, but they're written on this piece of paper that I made, which I just kind of wrote this up in about, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes when I first invented the game, and that sort of mostly describes the game. And then I've got some notes after the first time we play tested it the other day. So yes, the self-forgiveness and understanding, which are kind of they just discard a single shame or grudge from yourself without affecting the other person. So I wasn't too sure about those. They're not as useful as the other two, but they would add a bit of variety. So how long did I take to think of the game? Yeah, about broad concept, probably 5 minutes. Getting down to some of the details, it was probably less than half an hour. Takes a lot longer to actually get from there to making something that works. And then I had just spent probably about an hour by accident the other morning. I just downloaded or updated Inkscape because I'd had it ages ago, but it was an old one, and figured out how to get card templates and made these printable sheets, which like these sheets here, 2 of those, and printed some out. Had people coming around for board games, so I just sort of was cutting those out in between taking turns of other games, and then by the end of the day, I had enough cut out to play it. So yeah, it's like the majority of the time was cutting out, and it was like much more time to just make the basic cards than to actually invent the game. But that's often the case. Like the core mechanic doesn't take that long to think up the pieces, and then just physically making them takes a lot longer. Like I've got a game somewhere. No, is this it? No, this is a different one. This is a game that's played with little figures. I think it's called Playground Politics, but I haven't. Yeah, that's what I've got written on there. And that one was another one that was just pretty quick to invent, but then you refine it a lot with playtesting. So you have these little wooden figures that have different colors that we've got in the playroom here, and basically they each have colors, and then there's all these cards that have matching colors on them somewhere like that say things like friend or enemy, and there's sort of plus and minus and so on. And you can play it. I quickly prototyped up some there's these cards that you use for the to represent each person, and then you draw some cards that will give them friendships, enemy ships, or they'll sort of determine who they're friends with, who they hate, who they find annoying, who they like, various things like that. And then I made these as kind of a replacement, just little cardboard standing up guys for when I was out and didn't have the figures with me. But the idea is you just need to arrange them in a way that maximizes. There's a few different ways you can play. You can maximize the total happiness of the group, which means sometimes you've got one person who's miserable just because that's kind of works best overall, or you try to make sure everyone's happy, like no one's in the negative, or things like that. And there are all different ways you can arrange them. You could have them, you could try and arrange them in a line. You could do them in a loop, or sort of on a grid. And then there's extension to it that I made where there are different toys, like 2 different toys that, and they just randomly get assigned one of those toys that they like, and then it's kind of another mode you can play where if they like they gain happiness if they're playing with the toy that they like, but they're playing with it with all of the other people there, and that might be less fun for them if there's a group of people that they just don't get along with. So, but yeah, that's another one where it's like super quick to come up with the concept and the basic bits and pieces of how they work, but then you've got to prototype, and that's what takes the time. But what I'm setting up now should speed that up a lot, because I've taken a bit of time to figure out how to make the cards. And just making a set of printable cards and cutting them out is much quicker than once I've got this set up, much quicker than hand making every card. You like how my games reflect real life challenges, but in a fun way. Well, yeah, exactly. So my other game, which I don't know where it is right now, another real life challenge game. It's about a bunch of wizards who are trying to stop the world from getting destroyed by like a ghost wizard who used to be the archmage, but then somehow died. I have a few different humorous stories as to how that happened, but yeah, no, he's like this vengeful spirit mage that's just throwing out curses all over the place. Well, they're kind of random, sort of some positive, some negative, and then it's kind of everyone has curses heading towards them and limited knowledge, and you need to try to figure out what's going to hit you to make sure that you can kind of only get hit by the things that are positive for you, and try and pass on the other things to other people or delay them. Everything's going to hit someone sooner or later, though. But it's called mirror mages. So if you get down to like 0 hit points, you'll just keep getting hit by curses until. Well, it's not hit points exactly. Yeah, it's your hand size. Is it? Yeah, it's basically you have a hand size that's anywhere up to 9 cards, but if you get up to 9, then you basically just win. But yeah, if you go below 1, you just flip your board up the other way, and so now you're in the negative. But the more negative you get, the more hand size you get. And basically, if someone wins with the highest negative score, lowest negative score, then that means the world is doomed, because it was another ghost mage that ultimately was victorious. But that was like, yeah, just like in real life. That was another one where the basic concept didn't take very long, but that one, there was a lot more iteration sort of before I had a prototype deck built. I'll probably get that one printable on here sometime before too long as well. I'm going to remind myself what categories of cards I have, because I'm pretty sure. Okay, so wood, nails, these are materials. Oops, that's the wrong. I did like one thing I really liked about the skeuomorphic design of like the older versions of Windows, much easier to tell where the boundaries of the windows were. And all the flat design that came in, I don't know, sometime in the 2000s or 2010s, like everything just blends together. Anyway, so we basically have just materials and actions here, and these are like matching materials and actions. So that's one, and then the emotions sheet has some things that aren't emotions as well. There we go. All right. You totally agree? I don't remember what I just said. So you'll have to remind me what you agree with. I have ADHD, which kind of limits my short-term memory pool. So if I'm thinking about a bunch of things, it just pushes everything else out of my head, including whatever I said 3 seconds ago. Oh, right, of course, the skeuomorphic design. Oh, thanks for the follow, TS Coders Life. Oh, wait, I couldn't quite read that properly on the thing. It was either It's Coders Life or TS TypeScript Coders Life or something. Either one would be appropriate. I was writing TypeScript all day today, mostly just tests, which is interesting. And you've got to try and convince something to be mocked that really doesn't want to be mocked. I'm sure I've got a thing somewhere. I think there's a doc that I can show that says who just subscribed or things like that. Is it stats? No, that just has. I already had a stats one open. Are these literally the same? It looks like they are. Okay. I don't know why I didn't have a check mark on that. Anyway, thanks for the follow. And drop a message in chat and then I'll be able to read your name. I could spend more time and learn the streaming tools better. And I'm sure I will eventually. But it's also kind of a bit of a distraction from just doing the actual development. Which this having like doing this live and streaming makes it so much easier for me to actually stick with it long term and get through, past the initial fun prototyping stage of projects, which is fantastic. It's like win-win. Sort of put something out there that people like, and then that actually lets me finish making something that I can also put out there that people might like. Okay, so right. So that was materials and actions on the other sheet, and we've got a bit more materials and actions, and then that's positivity, and so are these. So I guess shame and grudge, they're negativity, and horses are horse. So let's do that. So let's do oops, that's not how you do that. Here. I'll do it like that for now, and then I'm just going to say horse here. Right. So all these group names are subject to reasonable changes. I might get I was about to duplicate that, but actually, yeah, instead of Control D, I can hit Alt D. Oh wait, I think I'll group that, and then I'll just make some clones of it. How spaced out do I want these to be? I might do about like that. Then I should be able to grab these things and just arrange them like this on a grid with 2 rows and 5 columns. And equal width. If not set. Oh, I see. The rows don't have to be equal height. And what's that? Pixels. Let's go with millimeters. Let's give them just fit them in there. There. That seems decent. All right, so that's where I can get my borders. And I feel like I'm taking forever to do this, but well, that's how things are sometimes. All right, what's next? I guess each of the basic forms of each card. So go in here, and this would be I can do it a different way actually. There's different layout, but I can always drag these things around. That's the good thing about this. Why I'm choosing to use vector art for the cards. So what I might do actually is have like the border for the category. So I can have like all the borders down here, and then the actual like cards. Okay, so I'll say I'll need to define this, but basically categories are these things like materials, actions, positivity, and so on. And then the card types are the actual like individual cards, such as the sorry card, or the forgive card, or the paint card. And then there'll be different card variants, which will just be different artwork. If this if there are 4 different pictures for a forgive card, then it'll have those. So I think I can just do like a I'll do a rectangle here for like borders. And just send this backwards. Oh, I might make a new layer for this actually. So everything's going on this layer called test layer 1. Let's just change this one to be called like headings and areas, something like that. And I'll just get some things onto there. So like this can go into that. And this one, can I just lower the layer? So now that's behind. And I grab that. And probably most of this text. Yeah. Pretty much all that and that. Just put them here in that layer. And then this layer can be called cards. And then that way I can kind of go, okay, let's just hide everything but the cards. So that's good. And then I was kind of thinking, I have this one not filled with anything or nothing too obvious. Just like unsaturate that. Oh no, that's it lost the yellowness when it lost the saturation. I might just go to here. How do you choose which layer you want to be on? Anyway, how do I make just a line? Literally just a single line. Freehand lines, Bezier curves, and straight lines. That's what I want. Shape. Just sequence of straight lines. So it's that one. Cool. So I'm gonna kind of just do a line like this. As that snaps to the corner of that. Now, if I hit Control or something, yeah, that seems to be doing the trick. Done. Yes, right-clicking did seem to do the trick. All right. So no fill. Stroke style. Is it a dashed line, or does it just look like that because of the selection? Just looks like that because of the selection. All right. Oh, actually, just kind of put some dividing lines in between, just to give me a rough idea. It's not looking amazing, but I'll fix it up later. Oops. Already had one here, apparently. So which is the... So I have two paths here. So that one needs to go, because this one should be a use. Because I was making a clone of it. I hope that means that if I basically make all of these shorter, then I could just go like this, and that'll be shorter. Stuff like that. Interesting. could have sworn that, oh, right. Yeah, there we go. I was missing the thing there. Okay, relative to first selected, let's left align these. And space evenly vertically. Seems fine. I think I'll just move these. Yeah, those are definitely not very well spaced. Let's just try that. And that. And just put those not touching, please. There. Oh, no, press the wrong thing. Okay, that's pretty much all the cards that I was, all the basic layout that I was looking to do. Just get these sort of fixed up. They look almost about right. I just need this one to go up a little bit more. And this one to go there. I probably don't really need to get them this perfect. But I like to. So I am. There we go. The down a little bit. So there. Now there'll be the border here. And I can put all the cards there. Actually had some borders that were already starting to be drawn just when I was planning to make some borders. So now you get to see my fantastic pants. Possibly. Almost. Oh, so close. So I got some cards. Oh, look at this shame card. Oh, wow. Oh, that's a grudge card. Really should get some of these scanning soon, but I'm kind of out of time for today. Stack of wood there. So it looks like they've got. So I'll basically just try to match the. For now, I'll just try and make some basic borders that are color matched to these borders here. Because who am I to argue with my main artist's ideas for now, and that'll get the basic thing up and working, I think. So we've got materials, they have a brown border. No, I don't think I can ungroup this because it is just a single use. So I think what I'll do here is I'll duplicate this to get a new thing. that I can group. What is it again for ungroup? Shift, Control G. So there's the ungrouped version. And if I get these two lines, and I'm sure there's some stuff I can do. Just try duplicating that. Can I cut one out of the other and thus make like a border? I guess I've got two options really for that. I could take this and just fill it with, okay, I'm trying to make this color of brown. So that's a reddish one. Let's get some stuff going on here. Now that's definitely not it. It needs to be closer to yellow. I think that's too close to yellow. Somewhere about there. What else? Yeah, that's not saturated enough. Oh, we got the lightness, we got saturation, so a bit more saturated, but lighter, or I could just scan this and copy the color. It sort of feels like it should be further down that way, but maybe it should just be more up here and then. Whoa. I'm going to go for about there, and then I'm going to select. Oh, is that? It's not a rectangle, is it? Wait. I just did fill on it, and oh yeah, it does have different fill. So let's fill that with nothingness, and then we got basically a border. Although I probably want to be a bit more flexible with that. And also this has a stroke of pink. And I think we'll just go with a thin black border for now. So that gives us a border. Interesting. Okay, so bring the materials border here. I'm just going to move this card out of the way. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to temporarily group these. And then I'm going to select this and then this. So I can align them based on the first selected. Center them together. Then I can move that other one. Yeah, that's what I want. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Use 8. How can I grab that without accidentally grabbing the thing in front? Oh, I'll just change the X coordinate to 100. 100's not enough. There. So it should go like there. Okay. And then I've got space over here. I can do instructions and stuff. Anyway, there's a border. And I'm going to duplicate this one. Oh, it's grouped. To ungroup it, just grab this one behind here and duplicate it. There. And again. 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 Okay, now this thing, what are we, actions? They appear to have a grey, light grey border, so I'll get that going here. Did I say, no, border, what am I doing? Okay, so I'm looking for the fill, that, and just get it to about the right lightness. There. Gonna leave that right there for now. Positivity. Oh, I don't have any, but actually, we've got shame is blue and grudge is red. So I might need 2 here. Oops, I forget to put that one down there. There. I'm looking at something like that. And for the red, it's extremely red. Richer than that. Yeah, it's like that. Okay, horse. I haven't got an example of a horse one yet, so let's just make it orange for now. All right, right, getting these aligned properly. Bring that one. Yeah, raise these up so I can move them out of the way after I've aligned things with them. Right, so we got this and this. Align centers. And send these guys. These. Okay, now these, they're going to be a little different. So we'll do vertically aligning centers. And then just have to figure out how I want to arrange these. Okay, and now I can probably just grab like this and the others. And based on first selected line centers, that'll get them out of the way. I can always make a bit more space. In fact, there we go. That should be a bit more space. Whoopsie. Moved something that I shouldn't have moved altogether. Okay, Now let's get this and all these guys. And do this, and then I'll get these two off the top of each other. Okay, got both of them. Now I want to just first of all put them back together, and then can I distribute them like that? Oh, I don't think it knows which is which. Can I put them on a grid? One row, two columns. And we'll give them a couple of millimeters in between. That's not, what am I doing? Just grab these, select that, and then I can just do that. And then I can ungroup. How did all that happen? Did I? Oh, I moved that to the east instead of the other way around. Because I had it set wrong. Oh yeah, so why have I got, I don't know why I've got two of those. Just delete that one. But this one here, I want to just make a clone of it because it's it doesn't need to be separate. Oh, I haven't got a positivity color yet. And I'll just align these with the backs of the cards. But positivity, I want to put maybe yellow. That seems appropriate. Looks a little muddy. Gonna turn the saturation up. There. All right, now. Oh yeah, I can use. If I align these based on the selection area, then that actually works well because it doesn't matter what order I select these. That's going to be the selection area, so just center that. As long as they're within the bounds of the thing. As long as this bit's within that thing, it won't move the outer thing at all. Okay, cool. So I've got some borders defined here. Then I guess it makes sense to group those once they've got the borders, because then I can use those as the basis for the other cards. I think I can lock this so that I won't accidentally keep grabbing it. Well, I keep not sort of clicking and dragging around these things because of this. Direct 14, lock. Alright, does that mean then if I go like this, yeah, it selects those. Awesome. I like that. So this is actually a use. I wonder if I can look at its properties and update what it refers to. No, it doesn't seem like it. So what I haven't done so far is made anything that's like exportable, but that's partly because I haven't made all the cards. So I'll make a clone and just select that one, and then relative to the last selected, get that centered up. Okay. I guess I don't really need that. What I do need though is this, like if I'm going to have the headings positioned appropriately then, or consistently, then they should all be kind of based on this. Let's see, is that a limitation with SVG? I kind of missed half of this message before from Miss Bamuella. It said, I've literally just had that issue. For some reason, Windows wanted to 1/4 my window rather than halve it. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, that's like, I think I have fancy zones set up so that you can customize how things are laid out, which unfortunately is not matching this this screen is zoomed at the moment. But yeah, basically, yeah, Windows has gone downhill in some user experience ways, for me at least, in recent times. Okay, so I was going to put, yeah, I don't think I can have something where it's like got a heading in the same place and now I just put different text there. So probably the best I could do would be, so grab something like this, group it, duplicate it, put it here. That is aligned with that. No, it is not aligned with that. It just was pretending to be. Okay. Select that and that. I wasn't pressing the right button to select both. Okay, so I selected the one that was in the right place first. So first selected, center them on each other. There we go. Then grab this thing, ungroup it, and then just remove the bits I don't want. And there we go, I've got a heading in the right place. Well, thank you so much for visiting the stream. It made it much nicer and helped with how my day is going. Materials. Door. Door is a material, but let's look at the other material first. And yes, enjoy your evening or morning or whatever time of day it might be. Or lack of that, if you're just drifting around somewhere in space. I think you'd have a very high ping in that case. Oh, and thank you for the follow. I'll be back on again in 2 days. Starting 2 days less 2 hours or so. Maybe a bit before that. And then hopefully get all of these done. So that's all I don't need. I want to make wood, nails, roof sheets, and paint. I'm going to change that to wood. And center that on the card. There. Now I have a wood card with a border on it. So that's good. I need 5 of these, so I'll just make some clones. Sweet. And just align and distribute these. So I won't include that. Actually, start with that. And then I will vertically center them all based on first selected. And now I want to distribute them based on the selection area. Just like even spacing in between. There. Okay, get nails. Roof sheets. Paint. And door. All right, now how is this all going to work? I will select this, and then I'll select all those, and get them all based on that one to the same vertical position. And then I think I'll go like that for horizontal positioning. Fix that roof sheets label in a second. So what's the issue here? What's my font size? 33.173. And what's my font size here? .24. So yes, I'll set these all to 24. It'd be really nice to be able to set these up to take that size from a single reference place. But on the other hand, maybe not so much. Okay, so selected, so grab, oops, other way around. That, then that. Recenter these because the text is not centered. There. Okay, actions basically the same. Duplicate that. Slap it over there. Don't need that one. Then pretty much just go like that to line those up. And then I can go like this to line these up that way. And that's good. Right. This is there's a duplicate, isn't it? Oopsie. I meant to make a clone. So that's still lined up with that one. Oh wait, I didn't even need to do that. I could have just gone there, there, and you go there. Oh, and then I can just like 1, 2, 3, 4. Top one. Go there. Next one. There. Next one here. And finally here. Okay, positivity. That's all materials. So all the positivity is here. So 1, 2, 3 positivities, 2 negativities, and a horse. I'm just going to delete these. Make 5 clones. Get them out of here. Hope I have the clone in the right place. So that should be the group, and these should all be use. Because the clones, I don't need 5 of those. I just said I need 3. So out of here, you two. Yeah. There are 2 types of these. And they each have their own color, apparently. Okay, apparently I didn't have a clone for that one. So let me just undo a bit. There we go. Can we stack these borders up, really? That looks pretty decent. Yeah, it's getting the vertical positioning. It's the main challenge with these things. So if I actually just get that thing vertically aligned. Then I've got my heading here. Oh, it's probably not going to match because I think I changed it for these guys. Okay. Yes, that's size 24. Text size here, 24. I could make this a little simpler by putting all of these directly on like a particular X coordinate. So if I were to grab all of these and just put them on like exactly 40 millimeters. Oh, that's the X, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, Y is at 260.786. Let's just say 260. That moves them up a little bit. And then this ends up being 269. Just say 268. It's 8 mil lower. That should be easy enough to replicate. This, and then if I get all of this, 413, say 410. That's, what was that? That was going from 260 to 268, so plus 8. So here we go from 410 to 418. There we go. Now text, set that text. All the actions. Sorbering, hammering, drilling, painting. Gotta come up with a different word to use for securing the door with a screwdriver. I could definitely add some guidelines here that would help line up the various parts of cards. Okay, let's get these to a round number. Let's see, go 560. To 260. 10. Oh yeah, they're all on what do you call it? They're 50 apart. $260, $410. So it's like $260, $360. So they're 150 apart. So these should be at $710. And this one, I guess, $960. No, $860. Added too many things. There. Okay. All right, if I move that to about the right place. Close. Oh yeah, I locked that one behind there. Just trying to get that to these cards to be sitting on the round numbers. 251.004. That should be really close. Not sure is a line that I just grabbed. Okay, 550. $700. 850. Okay, they're all aligned on nice round numbers, which will make it much easier to take this and just go 558 to position it. That shouldn't say sawing because it is positivity. So we've got, sorry, give and the love card. Shame and grudge. And of course, of course, of course, of course. Okay. Let's get that one relative to 850. So that'll be 858. $708 for this. Please. Get all of that label centered. Add other text on here. So I could do it. Okay, so 8 each. Yeah, 8 of each. So 40 cards. And that's actually identical actions. Positivity. Different for these and these. Now these were individual cards, but we ended up using them just having one of each and putting tokens on them. And that would mean that for a 4-player game, you just need 4 of each. Well, I got that master sheet basically laid out. I'm going to just, I think, call it a day and be happy with that. There is one other thing I haven't done that I need to do, because I need to make each card be a group and give it an ID, and then I can link to it. That'll allow linking to it, and I need to be careful then if I ungroup and regroup something, that could potentially be an issue. So I think maybe it would make sense to have a layer per card. That way I wouldn't have to necessarily have them grouped, and if I was just pointing to the name of the layer, then if I were to ungroup elements of a card, it wouldn't lose the ID that I have. So, yeah. Anyway, I better leave that for next time because I've gone over by almost an hour. And that's sleep time that I'm never going to get back. So, yeah. I feel like I want to move all of these across. Maybe that far. Just going to unlock that so that I can move it. Like up. All right. Oh, and I have not put this in version control yet. I will, just to avoid going for way too much longer, put this in Git. That's for me next time. So I need to have this be like this, and just what are options here? Too dark. There we go. So I'll get that going in version control. Oh, don't want to add some text there. That's not big enough, is it? Need it to dominate the landscape. There. That's looking pretty nice. Card deck. So that's the basics of the cards, and I can, I can see basically expanding this to include like all the variants of each card. But keep these here, and then the variants would go like in other places around here. All right, well, that's it for me. I'm done for. Too tired. So cool. Everything's closing. Yeah, so I better get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. I've been David from Fertile Pixel, and this has been working on Unstables, a card game of building stuff and emotions, like shame, and grudges. So, more on that next time as I scan a bunch of those cards and put them into a thing so that I can print them. Yeah. And then I'll be looking to playtest with a proper deck with enough positivity in it. All right. Well, I'm going to turn this light off and stop streaming and go and get some sleep. So have a good night or morning or whatever time